Finding a team for Ultra League has been incredibly hard for me, so I stole one. And apparently it was Ripperly who took this team to Legend, shout out to him. And it consists of Toxicroak, Drapion, and Mandibuzz. Yes, you can play Shadow Drapion instead of regular, but I only had the XLs for regular Drapion. And in this battle, we're gonna see one of the toughest lead I had to face, which was Charm Gramble in the lead and Registeel in the back. And I decided to try and make it a bit awkward for my opponent by swapping out into my Toxicroak. And as I managed to get the shields down, I can snipe it down with the Drapion. And as we see, it's DD in the back. The Registeel is almost dry, which means Mandibuzz actually has a chance to sweep this for us. I need to keep Mandibuzz at such an energy that I can hit Registeel with a move before it can hit me, and I also hit the DD with the Dark Pulse and snarl down. GG to my opponent. It was a really close game. And Toxicroak picked up a lot of good leads for me initially. And in this battle, I'm not exactly sure how to play out the matchup against Galarian Weezing, but I try and I went into Drapion. And I managed to keep alignment, which I was really happy about, because Toxicroak beats the Greninja. I got to Crunch, maybe I should have thrown it just for chip damage, because now I'll shield a Night Slash, and in comes an Ultra League Whimsicott. This is specifically why I wanted to include this battle, because I've never seen that before. I thought it was amazing. So I get shields down, and I go into my Mandibuzz. I'm not exactly sure how many Fairy Winds the Whimsicott has done and how much energy it has, but I CMP lose with my Mandibuzz, and I don't want to get too greedy with my Toxicroak and getting hit by a move, and I end up getting outpaced by the Greninja in the end. If I only landed the Crunch, I would have won that game, but my opponent played it really well. This battle is really interesting. I lead into a Scrafty, and out comes Charizard. A really good core if there was no Tapu Fini around, but as there is a Tapu Fini around, I'm a bit surprised. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to include this. I shield up the first move to be sure that I can keep alignment. And my opponent, they double shield their Charizard. So I double shield my Mandibuzz, thinking that they would not have something else weak to Toxicroak in the back. But they did, so they saved the Charizard because it's their only Toxicroak counter. So I go in Drapion into the Lapras because I know that Toxicroak has such a good matchup against the Scrafty. But what ends up happening is that they still have their Charizard and they're getting to a move. Luckily, it's only a Dragon Claw, but I have to take it out immediately. And now I managed to CMP tie my opponent to their foul play, which really was what made us win the game, because they are one turn away from Power Punch, but it's just, you're this weak front and back to the Toxicroak, or any fighter for that matter. I'm just really surprised people are willing to take that risk. That's an unhealthy ABA in my opinion. In this matchup, they are also weak to Toxicroak, as at least that's how I'm guessing when they're staying in with their Escavalier. As you can see, we dropped some frames in the first matchup against Escavalier, which has been a bit more common recently after some of the most recent updates. They swap out the Escavalier and with the Walrein, and when you swap a Walrein into a Toxicroak, it's looking really good for Toxicroak in the end, and they have a Greninja as their third Pokemon. So we simply counter down their entire team, and the opponent concedes the battle, and we didn't even show the Mandibuzz. Escavalier could work as an anti-fighter, but not against a Toxicroak, at least not in the two-shield scenario. In this battle, we lead into another Greninja. Greninja has been quite popular in Ultra League recently, and it's because it's really good. Here I try to see how much Dark Pulse is gonna do, and if I have to throw 3 charge moves, but turns out I have to, and so I will. And the Aerial Ace takes out the Venusaur, the Greninja takes out us, but this is where I realized I should have swapped my Drapion into the Venusaur. And that's because Mandibuzz and Toxicroak cover each other perfectly. If there was a Charizard, as there is, or a Swampert in the back, Mandibuzz would have been a lot better against that team than the Drapion is. But as my opponent lets a Sludge Bomb come through on his Greninja, we can simply counter down. And that's a GG. I also faced Cobalion lead with a Tentacruel safe swap. And I chipped it down, and honestly, I'm not exactly sure how to play out the Tentacruel safe swap. Because my opponent here decides to throw the moves, which is, of course, correct, and they shield up my 2 final crunches, so they go 2 shields down. But they managed to realign their Cobalion away from my Toxicroak. I got some debuff, so I tried to farm down the Tentacruel, but he swapped out and the Mandibuzz comes in. And I have 2 shields, so I start shielding up the Aerial Aces. And here, I'm thinking, I hope I can counter down, but they just barely get to an Aerial Ace. And here comes the Tentacruel, and they get to final Acid Spray. As we don't get to that Mud Bomb on the Cobalion, it's just gonna out-damage the Mandibuzz, because Aerial Ace is not really a very good move. And so we're just gonna lose this game. And very, very well played to this trainer. GG. This battle is the final one, and I want to show it because I was mentioning earlier on stream how good Mandibuzz can be. And when I swap Drapion into Cofagrigus and they don't swap out, that tells me they don't really have a good Dark counter. Or at least not a very good Drapion counter, which surprised me. So I tried to farm down with Toxicroak, just hoping they don't have Flamethrower, but of course they did. But here I stay in with the Cofagrigus until I build up to another charge move. So I can swap out into the Mandibuzz, and I was saying to chat, I'm streaming on Twitch, by the way, if you haven't realized. And I was saying to chat that Mandibuzz is not too bad into Tapu Fini. So I make a gamble that they're gonna bait, and we no-shield the first Surf. And as you can see, the Aerial Aces are chunking away. And when we get to the next Aerial Ace, I don't throw it immediately. And that lets us sneak one through, and they give us an Aerial Ace for free. The same the Cofagrigus does when it comes back in. And here I throw stupid bait, but it actually pays off. Because the only lose con I have there is a no-shield from their end. And that's all the battles I had for you today. If you decide to try out the team, please leave a thumbs up on the video. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.